All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Dave DeFore. Dave, happy 11/11 day. How are you doing?
Oh, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Hey, I'm great.
Did I throw you? It's Isaiah Thomas Day.
I know.
November 11th as we record. Day. Oh, we missed 11/11 on the clock. Not for me in Central Time or for you right now in Pacific Time. But everything's going well for you. Happy Veterans Day, too.
Yeah, I love that you just tossed the cat off your lap.
Yeah, the cat's going a little wild. So we're here with Dave DeFore, Dave to 48 minutes. Also with Dorothy DeViolent Cat, who is attacking me right now. So we might have to pause the show as she tries to wound me, bouncing around. I picked up some large posters for my Grizzlies Nashville watch parties. I swung them in my hand and she ran away. Yeah, if you're anywhere near Nashville, I think the next one is Tuesday, December 3rd. As I spit on the microphone.
You didn't do NBA Cup tonight?
We looked into hosting some NBA Cup Grizzlies watch parties in Nashville, but the Grizzlies kick off their NBA Cup group play on the West Coast. And this bar, they close down the downstairs around 9:30, 10.
Yeah.
And they have stayed open late for us before, but this time they were like, that's not ideal to have a Wednesday night, middle of the week.
If it was a playoff game,
9:30 tip off against the Lakers. It's like, I hear you. Also, I'm happy with not being there. So we're not doing any NBA Cup watch party games yet. Although the second week of December, where there are no games scheduled because we have to see how the cup plays out. Yeah. Perhaps we will have some Nashville watch parties then. What a great plug for our Grizzlies watch parties at Noble's Beer Hall in Nashville, Tennessee.
You should do it. I am. I'm just going to
the cat got sufficiently scared by the size of these 11x17 posters.
They're very glossy.
It was very shiny. Maybe the cat didn't appreciate how shiny it was. I had been locking the cat up during the recordings because the cat, I've talked about it so many times. When I sit at the microphone, she wants to get involved. Right. Today she got violent. I hope no one sends my wife the YouTube video of the cat being pushed away. Anyways, there's a lot to talk about, of course, as we wrap up basically the last week of NBA basketball. It feels like we keep getting, maybe it's always the case. Is it always the case? We keep getting so many great games going down to the wire. And I also feel like we're getting maybe great games in the marquee matchups. Yeah. Like the best players are delivering. Maybe Sixers, Hornets was not marquee, but what a game.
That game was awesome. That game ruled.
LaMelo Ball hits the weirdest amazing shots.
I just don't understand him sometimes, but God, he's been awesome this year. Right before we started recording, we were just talking about how great the season's been. We're like a month in, and I'm not one of these guys that feels. I don't work for the NBA. Yeah. If this was bad, I would say, man, garbage. The one thing that's been garbage is the refereeing, but I don't want to get sidetracked with negative. The games have been a lot of fun. It's super competitive. The Nets are just a tough out, right? Like, how cool is that the Nets, who definitely want to tank, just play everybody so tough? I don't know. The Clippers being fun to watch is awesome. Like, they're way more fun to watch with James Harden than they ever were with Kawhi and Paul George.
So
with their your turn, my turn, dribble the leather off the ball and take a mid-range jumper. I would much rather watch what's happening there right now.
The Nets almost ended the Cavaliers' perfect start to the season. You could say they collapsed. The Cavs put it together. They had a very bad shooting night. They overcame it. They beat the Nets. I'm sitting there as a Grizzlies fan. The Grizzlies, by the way, have been smoking everybody they play. The Grizzlies have the best net rating in the NBA over the past 2 weeks. And that's with Scottie Pippen Jr., Jay Huff, Jake LaRavia playing all the minutes. Okay, but anyways,
and then they beat Portland.
But Portland's already quit.
Yeah, that's insane. Denny Advia to the bench.
Portland's already quit. Oh, but I'm glad Time Lord's back. No, the Nets. I'm sitting there as a Grizzlies fan being like, we lost to this Nets team twice. So I wanted them. I wanted them to beat the Cavaliers. Yeah. Going back to LaMelo Ball,
but they're okay. It's like losing to Atlanta. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, you don't want to lose to Atlanta, but Atlanta can play you tough sometimes.
Going back to LaMelo Ball.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots the strangest shots. He's now taking these 3-pointers where if you showed this to somebody in the year 2000, you'd say that's the worst shot I've ever seen any player ever take.
It's like running 1-footer.
How can you take a running step back 28-footer and he's making them? He's like sidestepping. This is no longer the gather step, jump backwards, shoot a 2-foot jump shot. He's just being like, yeah, let's not do that. What if I just take a weird sideways step and launch it off of 1 foot? I mean, I feel like a player from the 50s would see more in common with that shot than anybody in the last 40 years. They're like, yeah, that's how we shoot. We just little weird knees honestly, up in the air.
Like functionally, it makes sense. Like biomechanically, it makes sense. Like if you think about the way you throw a football, the way you throw a baseball, it's similar motions. Your body turns. And so like the 1 foot makes sense. Steph Curry has done a warm up and a lot of drill stuff where he's shooting off 1 foot, shooting like disadvantageous positions with his body. I mean, like we've all done this kind of stuff in the gym, but to see him do it in an NBA game is insane.
Yes.
Trae Young has been doing it. He does it occasionally, but been doing it more this year. But LaMelo, his body control, he really has gotten a lot stronger. Is the biggest thing I noticed from last year at the start of the year to this year. Obviously he's healthy, but he looks so much stronger. Like his upper body actually looks more solid. So that's helping him too. But I mean, that guy is so much fun. And he's just like, there are no rules for him. And I thought it was going to be a bad thing for a little while. You know, this guy's going to pull up from half court. He's going to point at the half court line and pull up. But experimentation in basketball, especially with the ball in your hands, that's the guys that take it to the next level. I mean, Steph Curry, the shots that he has been essentially that he built like a legend on are all bad shots. So I mean, there's no such thing as a bad shot anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe that's how you get back into the math problem of basketball, where you're like, well, if LaMelo has a 30% chance of making that, it's better than any post up.
That's it
in the world. The Hornets right now, 4-6, 1 game out of third.
The East is awful.
The East is so horrible.
East is awful, except for
you know how many. I mean,
Boston, Cleveland.
You know how many teams have a winning record in the East, right?
It's only 3, right? Or no, 2 because the Pacers are 500. Yeah.
I mean, the Pacers. We're gonna get to our breakfast. I'm getting lightheaded with all this basketball talk before breakfast, but the Pacers murdered the Knicks with some unbelievable clutch 3-point shooting to move into third all by themselves at 5-5. I called it, Dave, the regular season juggernaut Indiana Pacers alone in third place at 500.
Amazing.
Kind of wild. Let's do our breakfast. And then there's actually something that LaMelo Ball did that I want to come back to that actually is it's really sticking in my brain. What breakfast did you have, Dave?
I mean, you know, what's funny is I realize now that there are thousands of people that know my dietary habits, and I have gotten multiple messages about my lentil soup intake.
Lentil fans coming out of the woodwork, man.
I mean, one of our mutual friends sent me a pot of lentil soup that he is making an industrial sized pot. So
you mean a picture?
A picture. Not
because you said sent you a pot of soup.
Oh, sent me a picture.
And I was like, what's shipping on that?
The text.
do you have
talking about the text, you know.
Probably weighs like 10 pounds.
I mean, it looked like it. But you know, just still doing the oatmeal, man, with pumpkin. It's fall. It's chilly in the morning. It's nice with the homemade cold brew, and
there you go.
I actually got an espresso on my walk with my dog today.
Oh, very fancy.
Yeah.
I had a handful of grapes. It's been a morning, Dave.
Oh yeah, because the kids are home.
The kids are home. So my kids are in public school. I work at a private school, and the schedules don't match up at all.
Yeah.
And the kids keep being off for things. Today's Veterans Day, so no school. All right, makes sense, but not for my other job. And then like last week, my kids were off for election day because their school is a voting site. So you can't have kids around for the voting. So, all right. So they keep being off. Today, there was a birthday party, Veterans Day birthday party at the trampoline place, one of the many trampoline places around Nashville. So I'm like, all right, I got to take my kids to this trampoline place. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies played, on Pacific time, Sunday night. So I got to do my Grizzlies show. I got to take my kids to this thing. I drop them off. I'm finally like, I can't do it all. Luckily, the in-laws, their grandparents just say they'll pick the kids up from the party. So now I'm home recording, had to feed them. Now we're recording.
Just ran through your whole day, Keith. This is it's only
I have to go teach piano later. I mean, this is I know. No human was meant to work this much, and I barely work.
Oh no, definitely not. We're meant to wander and eat plants.
Yeah, my 7-year-old left her favorite socks at the trampoline place. She has socks that have the days of the week on them. Ooh. So she was wearing her Monday socks.
Yeah.
And she's gotten to the point where she has to wear the right sock to the corresponding day. In the trampoline park, of course, you put on the funny trampoline socks.
I didn't know
so
that.
they have special socks with grips on them.
I wouldn't want them to wear their own socks, but now that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually brought our own trampoline socks because we've been to this place before for other birthday parties.
You guys are like bowlers that have your own shoes.
Right. Well, we're not. Part of me, I'm like, they give every kid who comes here a new pair of socks. And for me, I'm just thinking landfill at all times.
So wasteful, man.
I know this is just landfill. So I'm like, let's save our socks. If we come back, we'll use them again. So we used them again because the in-laws picked them up. They're not saying, hey, where are your normal socks? And of course my kids aren't going to remember. They changed their socks.
Should just sell the socks for like $1.
Well, they do, but they include, you have to use the socks, Dave.
I see.
Because they're gripped a little bit and they're supposed to keep you from falling. Although
I was just thinking if people bought them, they'd just bring them back.
Regardless, now I'm like, all right, the kid's crushed because she lost her Monday socks. Who cares? My boy doesn't care because he just had normal. He doesn't care about the socks. He didn't care about anything. I'm like, all right, now so I got to drive maybe round trip 40 minutes to save these socks. Cause I was like, we're getting new socks, but she's so sad. They're her Monday socks. So I don't know when that's going to happen.
Do they make Sunday?
She has weekend socks. Mm-hmm. So it goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then weekend. That's how they're named on the sock. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cause anyways.
Yeah.
All that to say, not a lot of breakfast around here, Dave. I grabbed some grapes. We have a lot of grapes.
What kind?
They were like the dark purple ones.
Yeah, seedless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Seedless. My cat has returned. Great. Good news. Everything's going great over here. Anyways, that's our breakfast. After our breakfast, we moved to our breakfast in bed. Apologies. This is my chance to make right what I might have gotten wrong in a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA. Not on this show. Today. Not on this episode. We've already talked about it some. Some real quick apologies. Nothing big here. Nothing factual. I put a mild podcaster jinx on Bilal Coulibaly. Went pretty hard on him last week. Had a regression game or two. Got destroyed by my Grizzlies, but he's still amazing. Dunk, though. He gets up, Dave.
Yeah, listen, man. That guy, I think might be a star, man.
He's slight when it comes to NBA players. Sure. Skinny, smallish. He gets up.
Yeah.
The guy has power on those dunks.
Yeah. He didn't grow up here, right? Like he's just getting into the American diet. He's going to bulk up. Don't worry.
Get him some Big Macs.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
You know who had a dunk this week that really opened my eyes? It was somebody I hadn't seen dunk that hard before. My guy, Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson posterized somebody a few games ago. And I was like,
big.
He is big, but still like on the spectrum of NBA athleticism, he doesn't grade out that well. You don't think of him as being
a pretty easy athlete, I'd say. I don't know that he's not like a guy like Ja that just stands out, but he's a very easy athlete. Like he's smooth.
He's another reason the Nets are playing tough. He's having an incredible year so far. He's
going to be great on the Grizzlies.
Man, I wish we can't try. There's no room for any more players on the Grizzlies. We have Jalen Wells now, who's awesome. I also put the old announcer jinx on the Jazz. I think last episode I said the Jazz are never going to win unless I announce or jinx them to win today, and they won that day. So yeah, they did. They beat the Bulls. Bulls didn't have Zach LaVine.
They didn't beat the Bucks though. That would have been amazing.
Man, I thought they were going to.
It didn't matter because the Bucks are losing everybody else anyway. So
Damian Lillard is playing really well now. He's like hitting. He's shooting well, of course. Good clarification.
That's important because
but like if a guy makes 7, 8, 9, 10 threes in a game, that should cover up a lot of.
Who should expect him to do anything on defense, right? Like I agree. He should just stay down on the offensive end. If he stayed on the offensive end, maybe they'd be better off.
Oh, you just think, do that Vivek strategy of the 4-on-5 and a cherry picker?
It can't be any worse, Keith.
So yeah, the Bucks are still not very good. Also here's someone I did not have the reverse podcaster curse on. Dyson Daniels. This essentially Fastbreak Breakfast season 11. It's the Dyson Daniels and Nikola Jokic.
You got to get Jay King on here to talk about Dyson Daniels. This is his favorite player.
Dyson Daniels had 7 steals in a game. The Hawks they're not good. All right. They might actually be bad. They're struggling. They have some injury issues, but they're 4-7 and they've played not hard teams yet.
Yeah.
Dyson Daniels had 7 steals in a game. He leads the NBA in deflections per game by a preposterous margin.
It's insane.
He's averaging over 7 deflections per game. Second place is 4.
Is he over 3 steals a game too?
I don't have it pulled up right now. You get 7 in one of your 11 games. Good chance you're close to 3 steals per game.
Right.
You know who's second in the NBA in deflections per game at 4.4?
Is that Jokic?
Nikola Jokic.
Yeah. Yeah, Dyson Daniels 3.3 steals a game.
Yeah, so he has been just absolutely and amazing.
Almost a block a game, which that means he's got like 5 blocks, 6.
No, the guy has been really spectacular so far. I just wish maybe the Hawks were a little bit better because like you see it. I mean, when you see Dyson Daniels and then Jalen Johnson and then like Risa Shea is throwing alley-oops to those guys, you're like, whoa, I see the vision.
Really good out there.
Yeah. They're looking good. But anyways, those were our breakfast in bed apologies. Moving on. So Jokic, second in the NBA in deflections per game. What more can we say? Yeah. First in rebounds,
first in assists, first in offensive rebounds, fourth in scoring. Shooting 56% from 3.
So Jokic couldn't make 3-pointers into last year in FIBA at the Olympics. He wasn't making threes. Now he's making his threes. We buried the Nuggets the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
They're now 7-3, totally respectable. They're winning close games over good teams. Theory, Aaron Gordon was holding Jokic back.
I don't know about
because Aaron Gordon's been out.
Yeah.
Jokic has a shot at leading the NBA.
I know.
In points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game.
Triple crown. The thing is, I don't know. Even with Jokic, you have to worry about the workload. And because you're always just durable and resilient until you're not. And I mean, Jokic, look, the way he plays, it's not like, he's this high level athlete who's doing a lot of, jumping, right? Where guys get hurt. But I still worry about the workload. It's a lot. And then there's stuff like Michael Porter Jr. actually was okay in the game the other day, but defensively, man, like
he hit the game winner against the Mavericks or the go-ahead bucket. Yeah.
But defensively, like you can't have him on the back line. You got to have Peyton Watson out there a little bit more. And offensively, like he stinks. So like they've got some serious issues that I worry about without Gordon defensively. But the thing where Jokic is just like, okay, I got to do everything now. We've been like kind of wondering, because we've seen it in the playoffs, wondering if he would do that in a regular season. I think he's going to be 30 points a game this year. That's it. I mean, he has to basically.
I mean, I guess, did we sell him short once again? I mean, we pointed out that he can carry a team to 50 wins, but like,
yeah,
he is so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like he's head and shoulders.
Who's the second best player in the league? Like, it's hard for me to figure that out.
Great question.
Right? I can't, because I don't know if it's Giannis, but he's up there. Embiid is not healthy, and so like I don't know. Jason Tatum is closer to that mix now, I would say.
I think Doncic is the guy everyone would point to.
Sure.
But then you watch, I don't want to take just a 1-game sample size, but you watch you watch the Nuggets and Mavericks on Sunday, and you're like, yeah, Jokic is just not.
He's on a different planet.
Different planet. Doncic nowhere close to this. Yeah. I mean, meanwhile, Kyrie, okay, if you just watched that one game, you'd say Kyrie Irving is the second best player in the world, maybe the best player. Kyrie,
honestly, Kyrie really might be.
Man.
That guy is honestly like just one of the more skilled guys I've ever seen in my life.
He finished that game 17 for 22 from the field, and it was basically all jumpers. I mean, it was just unbelievable. 43 points. I can't get over Jokic doing what he's done, even though I adore him and I've said he's the best player for a very long time. You mentioned the heavy minutes. Right now, he's 5th in the NBA in minutes per game. The top 2 guys in minutes per game this year are both injured. Tyrese Maxey and Kevin Durant. 1-2 in minutes per game. Those guys have gone down. I don't know if there's a correlation between the heavy minutes and the injuries, but it does feel like the modern NBA with the pace as high as it's ever been. I saw a chart somewhere saying like miles run per season right now is basically the most it's ever been.
Yeah, where defense is insane, man.
Yeah, everyone's trying way harder than ever. You have to guard way more of the court than you ever did. LaMelo Ball and Damian Lillard are shooting 1-footers from 35 feet away. It used to be, hey, just go back down. Everybody touch the paint on defense. Let's set up here. Now, all right, we can defend. Now you have to guard out 35 feet from the basket. And every coach, except for Doc Rivers, is like, let's push the pace.
Well,
let's faster.
Think about how many possessions in a game you're watching right now that are 7 seconds or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it is that has stood out to me very, very early on here in the season. 7 seconds or less offense, you're slow now. I mean, they're really just getting into stuff really fast. And then you have the Bucks walking the ball up all the time.
Yeah. So with FanDuel TV, whatever their thing is, that's where I watch the Grizzlies games.
Yeah. Do they have like touchscreen betting?
No,
yet?
They don't, but they do have their playback, their default. If you're watching it on a browser, if you press the arrow button, it just skips 5 seconds ahead, which is brilliant. It's great for watching NBA basketball. Like, I like that default, like click forward 5 seconds. Now, when the Grizzlies get a defensive rebound, you can't click forward 5 seconds because you'll miss the possession. However, when they played the Bucks or like the Sunday game against the Trailblazers, when the Trailblazers get a defensive rebound, click forward 5 seconds. You're now crossing half court. You're bringing the ball up the court. And right now in the NBA, if you're walking the ball up the court, you're losing.
That's it.
You're just letting the defense rest and get set. And so you see these teams that are not keeping up with the trends. Maybe that goes to some of the Bucks problems. I saw the Bucks right now have the most post-ups per game.
Yeah, they're stale
by a mile.
Yeah, shout out to Mo DeKeel, by the way, who texted me this.
Oh, did he?
Yesterday. He's like, man, the Bucks are just stale. Just stale. He was like, this is what we should expect. But it's crazy because this is only year 2. And it's really year 1 with Doc, right? Like, I mean, came in the middle of last year. It's insane to me that they look like this.
Also, I think it was Doc was saying that it's like, we got to get Bobby Portis and Brooke Lopez more shots. And it's like, you don't.
Bobby Portis has been awful.
Brother, you don't.
Awful.
they're all so old. They just want to rest, Dave.
I would say this: Brooke and Giannis have actually been pretty good, especially defensively, but they have no help. And then the young guys have been like the one bright spot I would say for them is AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, and Andre Jackson Jr. look like basketball players. It's nice to see them get a chance to play.
Yeah, the AJ Green guy's like the only, like, it's just, if you're going to be
shooter they've got.
Yeah, if you're going to be that bad or not engaged on defense, just put the shooter out there. Just try to spread it out.
And by the way, he was guarding Tatum on possessions, like straight up, like that was his man. So I'm not sure why, but he was. So, it's not like he's just a zero out there.
Now the Bucks schedule has been really hard. Sure. And they've played, I don't know.
They got an easy stretch coming.
They've at least been competitive recently. I might have added an extra syllable there, but they have at least hung with these teams. So like, hopefully it's going to be, close game to the Celtics where they were ahead, close games, 2 buzzer beater losses basically to the Cavaliers. So like they're kind of hanging in there, but they're barely hanging onto the rope. It feels like
2-8 is crazy.
So the Thunder, these are Dyson Daniels level numbers for the Thunder. This is something I identified the last week that kind of blew my mind. The Thunder lead the NBA in steals per game by a mile.
Yeah.
The difference between the Thunder and the Hawks, who are second in steals per game. So the Thunder averaged 3 more steals per game than the second place Hawks. That 3 steals per game is the same difference between the Hawks and the Bucks, who are 26th. So there's a 3 steal gap between second and 26th. And then that is the number of steals per game that the Thunder are ahead of the Hawks. The Thunder's defense is amazing. However, now no Chet Holmgren. That's
OKC's going to trade for Dyson Daniels and get him to play center.
Man, if there's any team that should be able to pivot off of bad injury luck, it would be the Thunder, who have every future asset ever. They have a ton of tradable salaries where they
only got to get through a couple more weeks.
And honestly, they weren't even playing bigs on their second unit.
Right. Well, because no Hartenstein, they had Caruso. Caruso was guarding Wemby in their game against the Spurs. Yeah. So they've been playing smaller. Those guys, the way that they kind of fly all over the place, and then when they do trap, the comeback that they had against the Warriors, that was Alex Caruso playing the passing lanes from the, center field, essentially, in the middle. You worry about the rim protection, but it's not like those guys aren't long. It's not like Alex Caruso doesn't provide some rim protection. Like, he can get up. I think they're probably not going to do anything.
Maybe not.
Hartenstein will be back in a couple weeks.
I think a couple of weeks is what people are hoping for. Although, has that been moved up? Because initially I thought it was December, but then I saw people talking about a couple of weeks. I didn't see any official update or anything.
The thing is, I don't know. I was talking to Andrew Schlecht about this.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't we go with like a cowboy Bob Orton? Just put him, give him a cast and make a club or whatever. It's his left hand, right? So he can't shoot, right? Okay, so take a righty floater. I don't know.
Yeah, earlier when you asked who's the second best player behind Jokic, in my head, I was thinking, I don't know, like Jokic's left hand. Like the best player's right hand Jokic. The second best player is left hand Jokic. The Thunder. So they're 8-2. They're tied with the Suns and the Warriors atop the Western Conference right now. The Warriors got this big victory. They were running the Thunder out of the gym.
Oh yeah.
But then that rally, the Thunder, the Thunder playing small ball because they didn't have bigs available, get back in it. Also, maybe this goes to the like officiating thing, and this will finally get me back to the LaMelo Ball thing I was thinking about. The one thing that has, I think, been problematic to me, and like you said, has been officiating. And historically throughout the show, I've been a big referee defender. And my question is always, how much of the calls are what the referees are being coached to do, which I normally say is most of it. Like they're interpreting the rules they're told to interpret. And we had a big change last year. I'd say a sea change in the way the game was officiated over this last, like post All-Star game, post All-Star break. The All-Star game was horrific. And After that, they stopped calling so many silly fouls. The playoffs, I think, really benefited from this. Early in the season, it seems like not so much. They're calling so many fouls, it feels like.
Well, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that guy is just tripping over his own feet to get to the free throw line.
I feel like the Warriors Thunder game was so marred by the grifting. And it's like the way James Harden plays, where it's just Shai just throwing himself into the defender. And if the rules say that's a foul, I feel like that's something we should look at. I felt like that game was a good example. Like, go through all the shooting fouls called in this game. And if those are shooting fouls, we got to fix some stuff. But
there's a thing with drives and fouls, right? Like everyone, like when people are trying to justify how many free throws a guy shoots, they always go to the drives. This is why, like, people say, "Oh, well, of course Steph doesn't get free throws." Steph gets hammered on these threes where he's flying off screens. And never goes to the line. Never goes to the line for these. And I feel like Shai would get 8 free throws on some of these. Like, they would literally like throw the rule book at whoever fouled him. I don't understand it. Like, is there this, and Steph is a funny example, but like Steph he shot 2 free throws in the game. Cooking these guys.
So a lot of it, the way the rules are written, where you have the defender, you can't go A to B. Like, if you jump,
right,
you have to land where you jumped, which is quite hard. The other problem is, you say it's not legal guarding position and the guy's moving his body and the defender still goes into the person's torso. This is what Shai does a lot. And you're like, what are the guys supposed to do? And then a lot of these, not just Shai's, but a lot of them I think are just missed calls so far. Now, on the other end, we keep seeing this thing that I feel like this did play out in the playoffs last year, where we have these reviews and the referees keep saying incidental contact. And they're like, oh yeah, that shot was blocked. And after he blocked it, he hit his arm, but he blocked the shot legally. And this has gotten very murky for me, where I'm confused. As someone who's watched an untold number of hours of basketball in their life, where I'm like, that has always been called a foul in my life. Now, it used to be when a guy drove to the bucket and you shot a floater and then Shaq threw your floater into the stands and then Shaq landed on you. That was a no call.
Right.
But they've changed that. Where now it's like, now that's kind of a foul. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. got a flagrant foul blocking Bub Carrington. Jaren blocks the ball, I would say cleanly, doesn't hit his arms or anything, but Bub has left the ground. He's unbalanced. After Jaren blocks the shot, Bub falls over because their body's hit. They're saying it's a vulnerable airborne guy. That's fine. Okay. So that's a foul. Sure. That's a rule. That's a foul. Then you had this LaMelo Ball play. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you see this review? It was near the end of the game, and the Sixers, where he knocks the ball away from Jared McCain. He does a reach in where he reaches with his left hand, but a split second after he hits the ball, his left hand and right hand and his shoulder and head hit the offensive player. Like, he bear hugs him.
Right.
And it looked like an obvious foul. They called it a foul. They went to the review. The Sixers announcers are like, that's a foul. What's the challenge here? They review it. They overturn the foul because they say LaMelo
hit the ball first.
And again,
this is the out of bounds call that where they hit the guy's hand and then it goes off his finger. Yeah. Where the spirit of the game has always been the guy who knocked the ball out of bounds is off on him. It's the same thing. But
they changed that for the out of bounds rules, of course.
Yeah.
For the reviews. But this part was weird to me because I thought, like, is the rule now or has it always been? Because, like, this has not been the way that the game has been called when you watch it at real speed. If now this is the way that the game is adjudicated at slow motion speed, high speed slow-mo, it's a lot different. And the idea that a defender, all you have to do is get one finger on the ball. And as long as the contact isn't flagrant after that, you're cool. Like, that is, so if that's the rule, that's never been officiated that way again in real speed. So it blew my mind.
Well, in a tie-up, you're taught to try to turn because if a guy reaches around you, it's a foul.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's that. Like, you don't want a jump ball. You want the ball.
I mean, LaMelo's head hits McCain's head. His shoulder hits him in the torso. His right arm goes around his back. His left arm goes around the front of him, but his left hand, again, it clearly hits the ball first. I'm just saying I've never seen in all my years of watching basketball, I've never seen like, oh yeah, you hit the ball first, but then you tomahawk chop the guy across the arms and torso. By the rule book, that's not a foul. This feels like this changes everything. I don't think it's going to change anything. Yeah. I was just blown away by the play. I was like, what?
Did you catch the Draymond unsportsmanlike flail?
No, don't get me excited on a Monday morning, Dave.
Unsportsmanlike flail was the call.
I love it.
On the court. He and Lou Dort got tied up, and they called a foul on Lou Dort because Draymond kind of baited them into blowing the whistle, and then Draymond spins around and hits him with like a forearm against the head. Unsportsmanlike flail. Never heard that. It's great. I mean, and it was a flail. It was a flail.
So that play. So I wish I didn't follow up. So that play, they called the foul on Dort. Mark Dagnall challenges the foul, but was the call upheld because did they still call a foul?
They upheld the foul.
That's what I thought was going to happen. I had this on mute. Yeah. Because that's what I thought. I thought that's the correct call. I was like, they're going to add a tech on Draymond for punching a dude.
They rewound to the beginning of the play. I actually was looking forward to them just rewind the entire quarter.
Just back it up.
Just go all the way back.
Just keep backing it up.
The beginning. Yeah. And just get to the bottom of this. But that was a good one over the weekend. So
Joel Embiid comes back this week. He is currently serving his suspension.
Or is he? I mean, I don't know.
We ran the tape back and he shoved the guy. All right. He shoved the guy. There's no tape, right? Has there been tape? I missed the tape. If there's tape, I haven't seen it.
I am shocked. So nobody was recording.
No security camera.
Yeah, no way.
Woj has the video. He's just sitting on it. Like, personal use.
He's sending that out to the NIL guys, the boosters.
So the Sixers pull off that win despite the overturned call on LaMelo Ball. They beat the Hornets. The Sixers 2-7. Nothing about what they do looks good.
Nah.
I thought before the season started, they were one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NBA when healthy. Of course, they haven't been healthy. Sure. I'm a big believer in Paul George. Of course, Maxey was out for this game.
I was like, yes, health is important for basketball.
But Maxey, it's not severe injury. He's supposed to come back in a couple of weeks. Right. Paul George hopefully stays healthy. Hopefully
he doesn't really look great right now.
I mean, maybe he's just.
I think it's conditioning.
Hosting?
I think it's conditioning.
He's a smooth-looking player, smooth-looking athlete. Yeah.
Smooth game-winning attempt the other day.
So, are you expecting the Sixers to jump back into looking like one of the best teams?
I don't know. I mean, is Embiid going to look good day one? I don't think so.
He's going to throw himself into a defender's chest.
Paul George had a knee issue. I don't think Paul George's cardio is up, right? Yeah. So we've got a couple more weeks of Paul George getting his cardio up.
Yep.
Embiid's going to take a month to get ramped up. They'll get Maxey back, but by then, what does it look like? If they can just get to the playoffs and have everybody healthy, you give them a shot against anybody. But I have zero expectations of them being healthy at any point this season, much less playoff time.
The good news is they're 2 games back of the 4th seed. So 2-7.
That is good. That is good. God, the East
no problem there. Oh, the East is horrible. At least.
Wait, what was the question? You asked. We had a question asking about the winning percentage, East versus West, a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Whatever we said, we're way off. The West is going to they're going to win 80% of the games this season.
Yeah, the Spurs, who I still don't know if they're any good. The Spurs, I don't know. They're 4-6. I haven't watched a game from start to finish, but I'm always tuning in on the second halves, for these games to see how they go. I have no idea.
Devin Vassell comeback is being treated like Elvis.
Devin Vassell
I'm
did return.
Wait, we're getting Shams tweets about Devin Vassell coming back? Come on now. We're getting desperate.
Jake LaRavia averages more deflections per game than Wembanyama. So slow down on your Wemby Defensive Player of the Year talk. Where was I? Oh, the Spurs. I'm saying the Spurs.
How many blocks is Jake LaRavia averaging?
The Spur 0.5 for your information.
Okay.
I have that on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
The Spurs are 4-6, which again would put them in the playoffs in the East right now. So I don't know. And they're 12th right now. By the way,
Wemby to shoot way fewer threes.
If the playoffs started today, the Mavericks missed the play-in. They're 5-5, so they're in 11th. The West, and we'll get to this at the very end of the show. I am going to update some of my power rankings. Also, there was a request to give them serial names, so we can hit that in just a few minutes. But like, I'm not sure if I might be downgrading the Mavericks, who I thought were an elite team right on the outside of like the very best. They're good. I'm not scared about the Mavericks losing close games to good teams, but like 5-5 with Kyrie playing out of his mind so far and Kyrie playing in every single game, 5-5 is kind of, not that good.
Luka has just not, I mean, down the stretch of their last couple games, just shot him out of it. Playing like a jerk. Jaylen Brown played a whole basketball game against the Bucks like a jerk, but then when it came time to win the game, he stopped.
Yeah. One note about Dave, your Detroit Pistons, and then we'll hit some listener questions. Dave,
my Detroit Pistons.
Well, you're a Tobias Harris man.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, everybody was a little too high on the Pistons in my opinion.
Tobias missed a clutch free throw, might have cost them a game. However, Cade Cunningham, put together a little Grant Hill-esque run, multiple triple doubles in a row. The Pistons gaining some respectability, scratching out some wins. Hey, 3 wins in their last 5, and that's including a very close loss. I'm feeling a little bit better about the Pistons, but you're not.
When was the last time you think they won 3 out of 5 games?
That's a great question.
They haven't won 3 in a row in years.
Last year. Yeah. Oh man, that reminded me of back in the good old days when Devin Booker had never won 3 games in a row. It's like first 5 years of his career, never won 3 games in a row. Now Devin's coasting just fine. Suns 8-2, Thunder 8-2, Warriors 8-2, Nuggets 7-3. Are those the best 4 teams in the West, or do you still include the Mavericks in that, or is there somebody else?
No, I think that's about right. I think that's about right. That again, and it's going to come down to health, but that should be, in my opinion, how it shakes out in the West in the top 4. I mean, Minnesota's issues, like again, they made a huge change to their team right before the season started, and you have to wonder if they're still feeling some of that. There's a whole Rudy Gobert situation brewing there, where he got benched in this game yesterday, or benched, or at least they made a substitution, I'll say. Yeah. So that's something to watch. I worry about them. Like you mentioned with Dallas, they're just kind of, I don't know, fine. Yeah. And it feels like Kyrie has to do something amazing, and they're fine. Yeah. The Timberwolves sort of blew the end of the game against the Heat. The Heat also kind of a mysterious team to me, but if they hadn't blown that game, that they'd be sitting at 4 straight wins, I think we'd all be feeling a whole lot better about the Timberwolves. I mean, the glaring thing to me about the Timberwolves, it's not the acclamation of Julius Randle. Julius Randle has been really good, I think. It's just the total fall off of my guy Mike Conley, who's like, I hope they probably need to start DiVincenzo. I hope he's playing his way into shape, but also like, is Rob Dillingham that bad that we can't? Find some minutes for him. Skinny. It feels like you got to have some guard play. It seems like, and I don't know. It needs something. But also the defensive drop off. I mean, people keep saying like Randall is not been the problem, but defensively, a little bit. It's him and Naz Reid. That's rough defensively. Yep. So, I also don't love that the only source of 3-point volume for them is Anthony Edwards. Like they don't have, and this is why I think they're going to have to figure out a way to get DiVincenzo with that starting unit more, because they need a guy who's just going to get shots up, like next to Ant.
All right, let's take a quick break now, and then we'll come back and answer a couple of listener-submitted questions. It is now time for some listener-submitted questions. The croissant questioner.
Knock yourself out.
Bobby Payton asks / writes, OKC got 63 three-point shots up in a game this season. The Celtics had a game with 61 three-point attempts. Is anyone going to beat the D'Antoni Rockets all-time record of 70 three-point attempts in a game this year?
Yes.
Yeah, that one seems really easy.
That one, I think we're going to see a 75 three-point attempt game from Boston.
Boston, I think on Sunday, they took 29 of their 46 field goal attempts in the first half for three-pointers. It's just, it's absolutely going to happen. We're going to break all the rules, all the records, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. That will be the game, though. That'll be the one. If the All-Star game triggered the officiating change, if the Boston Celtics take 75 threes in a game, the president's going to be on TV to address the nation over this. Like, it's going to
president-elect or president?
The president. I mean, it's actually, no, it's going to be Obama.
I can't imagine. It's going to be Obama on another podcast talking about
is going to mention this.
Too many three-pointers.
Because this has already been a theme to start the season, right? Like that we're just waiting for this crescendo moment where they come in and they start, we have silly people saying, oh, you should be limited to 33 three-point attempts a game, or, you cut off the corner three, which would absolutely ruin the geometry of the sport.
Yeah.
Just anyway. We're going to get a lot of
right now the Celtics are averaging 51 three-pointers attempted per game. There are 6 other teams that are averaging 40 or more. By the way, the Bulls are third in three-pointers attempted per game. And good job, Billy Donovan. Just
if you're bad, that's the game you ought to be playing right now.
It really is.
You should be playing that high variance game. And look, I coached great kids, but not basketball players, some high school kids, and set state records for attempts, misses, and makes, because that was our game. It's just, you don't have the skills to do to dribble, drive, right? So spot up. So get those shots up. Let the ball do the work.
Last in three-pointers attempted per game, the Nuggets, most ethical and honorable basketball out there.
Don't love that.
Magnus, the question master, asks, which Eastern Conference team will be the last to get their 10th win? All right, the race to 10 wins.
East?
I don't think this is that hard of a question. I mean, I think it's going to be the
Toronto or Wizards, right?
Yeah, I'll say the Wizards probably.
Toronto has been doing some special tanking to lose games.
They ran a guy out there. His name was first name Jameson. Yeah. I didn't know him.
Yeah,
I was watching the game on Sunday. I'm like, who's that guy? And then they're like,
I don't know, man. Like that's a team that
I will
not
say,
a fan of watching.
Hey, here's a Raptors observation. When they traded for Kelly Olynyk, we were like, why did they trade for Kelly Olynyk? And it's like, oh, they traded a first round pick, for Kelly Olynyk. That doesn't make sense. I think I figured it out. They didn't trade a first round pick for Kelly Olynyk. They traded a first round pick for Ochai Agbaji, who's cool.
Yeah, he can shoot now.
That guy felt like a throw-in at the time. People were like, Agbaji's not doing very much for the Jazz. Also, why would the Jazz trade this guy if they're a tanking team and they want to develop a young player? Well, for whatever reason, they're like, we're not for this guy. That has been a bright spot. I mean, I know RJ Barrett's scoring a lot of points and Grady Dick is scoring a lot of points, but like Agbaji can play, man.
Yeah.
I've been impressed. But yeah,
you think Grady Dick's going to keep shooting like Kevin Durant?
I'll be honest. I wasn't totally aware that he'd been averaging like 20 something points per game until I faced him in a fantasy basketball matchup. And I was like, Grady Dick scoring how much? What? And then I was watching it. And the one game I watched them the most closely, this was not the Raptors game against the Lakers on Sunday. There was another game, I think like a week ago, and Grady Dick was just chucking. And he was turning the ball over and having the ball taken from him. And I was like, I don't know.
But that's their offense late.
I don't know if it's good or not.
That's how they keep losing these games, Keith. I'm telling you, just clue in. Watch the Raptors when they're scrappy for 3 quarters, have a lead, and just it becomes one guy dribbling in a straight line into a wall of bodies.
To go back to Magnus's question, I think it's going to be the Wizards. More so than the Raptors. I think because like Quickly's been out, like Quickly's going to come back and play, and Pirtle's a good player. They have enough talent where they're going to win some home games. The Wizards are already like, I mean, they had a brief boost when Kuzma stopped playing, won a couple games, got to play the Hawks a couple times. They're rolling out like the all under 21.
Yeah.
Lineups.
They handed the keys to Bilal, you know?
I mean, Bilal, I like Keyshawn George so far, but like that team, they're already, it seems like eye on the prize, flagging for flag. Anyways, thanks for the questions, you guys. If you want your question answered on air, you have to be a Patreon supporter. Do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. If you support the show over there, you get an exclusive monthly bonus episode. Plus you can join the Slack channel, patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right. It is now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes, giving each week's the worst performance in a box score. We have a few honorable mentions. Trae Young, 1 for 10. Dyson Daniels, Hawks teammate, 3 for 16. Delano
steals in that game.
Probably 1,000. Delano Banton with 4 for 18. The closer, Bam Adebayo and RJ Barrett both had 5 for 21 games. Those are the honorable mentions. Our 3 nominees, as they occurred chronologically through the last week. Miles McBride in a loss to the Rockets, as the Knicks sit 4-5 right now. Not sure what to make of the Knicks, but Miles McBride was 0 for 9 with no points, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, no turnovers, 3 personal fouls. Devin Booker, next nominee, in a close win over the 76ers. Devin Booker was 3 for 18, 13 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 1 personal foul. And then Ayo Dosunmu, in a loss to the Mavericks, was 2 for 13, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. So, Dave, we're picking between Miles McBride, 0 for 9, no points, Devin Booker, 3 for 18, 13 points, or Dosunmu, 2 for 13, 6 points.
Probably McBride. 0 for 9 is pretty rough. That being said, the Booker 3 of 18, 1 personal foul. Come on, man. What do you just?
I lean Booker. I mean, I have a historical beef against Booker.
Yeah,
3 for 18.
You know
3 for 18. Solidarity. Yeah, the 18 attempts.
How many free throws did he shoot?
I normally don't even follow up on an 0 for 9. It was just a slow week. I think everybody having Tuesday off. No one threw up like last week. Some of these, like a 2 for 13 or 0 for 9, wouldn't even made it. I closed that window. I can't answer your free throw question.
All right.
So let's just say Devin Booker, congratulations on winning this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. All right, Dave, let's update the power rankings. So this week, the biggest fallers for me are the teams I'm keeping the eye on. The Knicks, now 4-5 on the season. I had them. They started the year basically as the outer core, which was like the inner core was the Celtics and maybe the Thunder. The outer core, I kind of thought was going to be the Knicks, the healthy 76ers, the Mavericks. So the Knicks are 4-5, possibly looking at a downgrade. When I get into my competitive fray teams, which is the large chunk of the teams that are pretty good, like the Warriors and the Kings and the Lakers and the Grizzlies and the Rockets and the Pacers and the Magic and the Heat, the Bucks, I'm keeping them all there. No one's moving up. No one's moving down. I mean, I feel like maybe there's a conversation to be had. Should I move the Warriors out of that? I don't know, but this is again what I'm thinking of. Then at the bottom of the standings, I think last week I moved the Wizards up from bad without honor to just bad. I feel pretty comfortable. We're moving them back down. They're bad without honor. So I have the Wizards at 30th, bad without honor. I have the Jazz at 29th at bad. I got the Raptors 28th, bad. Trailblazers 27th, bad. Nets, they're 4-6. I'm giving them bad with honor, but I still have them 26th. Right now, how would you rank these teams? The Hornets, the Spurs, the Pistons, and the Nets. Hornets, Spurs, Pistons, Nets.
Hornets, Spurs, Pistons, Nets. I probably go Hornets, Nets, Pistons, Spurs.
So you don't believe in the Spurs either. But anyways.
Not right now. Like I don't know, man. What I've watched does not look great. Again, I got a problem with Wemby jacking up 35-footers all the time.
It's the way. You already said this episode, if you're not any good, just launch 3-pointers.
Okay,
Wemby hurts you.
Wemby is good. Come on, man. This is it. I mean, this is just.
All right, but here's the thing. Whatever order you have those teams, those for me are the 23rd through 26th best teams in the NBA. Ahead of those teams, I have the Hawks. That might be wrong. I'm willing to admit the Hawks should maybe be in that conversation and also be in that lump of just bad teams. The Bulls, I have at 21st. The Pelicans are going through it right now. I don't know how to rank them. I still have the Pelicans at 20th. I still have the Bucks at 19th. 2-8. I don't care. I think the Bucks are better than those teams. We will see. The Clippers have won 4 straight. Clippers been playing well.
Again,
I tried
to watch.
Honestly, I changed the conversation when you mentioned them earlier, because we've talked about them every episode. I feel like a lot, but the Clippers, fun to watch, play hard. They have an identity and impressive at 6-4. I'm going to jump to the very top now, actually. So then we have this fray, the Heat, the Magic, the Pacers, the Rockets, the Grizzlies, the Lakers, the 76ers. They've been hurt. I still include them. The Kings, the Warriors. I'm throwing the Knicks in them. But at the very top, I still think the Celtics are the clear favorite to win the NBA title. That's why they're first. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 11-0. And last week we said, I think they're a contender. Last week though, I said, I still think they would lose to the Mavericks in a 7-game series. I am a victim to the moment. I'm no longer saying that. I'm putting the Cavaliers actually ahead of the Thunder too. I think the Thunder haven't impressed me enough with their offense. Maybe we're just nitpicking here, but I think the Celtics are first, and I have promoted. We submitted the paperwork and it went through. I have the Cavaliers as the lone team by themselves, is kind of like a second tier number 2. What do you think about that?
The Warriors aren't in there yet.
No,
they moved DeAnthony Melton to the starting lineup.
I love the Warriors, but I think when I consider winning 7-game series, I don't have them as the ultra top squads right now. Here are my rankings. And again, I limit myself to only letting each team move up and down 3 spots each week. So this still factors in preseason thoughts for the team, right, how I feel about the roster. I'm kind of ignoring some injuries. I still have the Warriors kind of around. I have them at 9th right now. I'm still giving a lot of credence to the Knicks. I have the Knicks at 8th. I have the Nuggets back up at 7th. I have the Timberwolves at 6th. I have the Mavericks at 5th. They're all very, very close. The Warriors being 8-2 is great. I believed, as our listeners know, I believed a lot in this Warriors team in the offseason. I said they're going to have a great defense and they're going to force so many turnovers. That is the case. I still don't trust them necessarily in the half court and when it gets to playoff basketball. So I still have the Suns. Right now I have the Suns at 4. I have the Thunder at 3, the Cavaliers at 2, the Celtics at 1. What about that would you change?
I mean, I think that's pretty good. The Thunder is a health thing for me. I need to still look. Cavs are 11-0.
Yep.
So amazing start. I don't know if I can quite put them up above the Thunder yet.
That's fair.
Right. But that being said, I think that top 4 is about right. I like the Warriors more than I like the Suns, but I'm also trying to toot my own horn on that Warriors thing while I can.
Yeah. We were there, Dave. We were there.
That's right. Everybody needs to know. I said top 5 defense.
The Suns lost their first clutch game on Sunday. I think they've been 5-0 in clutch games.
Yeah, hey,
and
it stinks not to have Kevin Durant out there.
Yeah, and you give credit to the Kings for coming out with that victory. I mean, DeRozan.
Okay, wait. Okay.
He's so
give credit to the Kings. They're down 3 with 40 seconds left, and DeMar DeRozan's like, hey, perfect time for a mid-range pull-up.
But it worked.
Yeah,
DeRozan even choked on the end of regulation play. Yeah. He got a wide open 12-footer. He always makes us. He actually missed it. Then Keegan Murray tips it in. Yeah. But having a DeMar DeRozan who in clutch situations can just get a bucket. They give him the ball because
he gets a good look.
He gets a good look every time. He might pull the string on it and miss it short, but that allows you to rebound it. Having DeRozan for these clutch games is so valuable. But the Suns finally lost a clutch game. I still think that they've been tremendous. I think their roster should be enough to endure KD missing a couple of weeks. When he comes back, I think they're going to be absolutely fine.
And then they lost Nurkic, so still waiting to hear on that.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So yeah.
Well, he got banged up. I don't know if
Yeah. So that's where we have it right now. The Mavericks, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Knicks. They have a lot to prove. The records aren't as good. I mean, Nuggets, I guess we're nitpicking with 7-3, but we will see more this week, of course, as the NBA Cup tips off on Wednesday. I hope teams get up for it. I mean, I think they're going to.
Tips off Tuesday, by the way.
Tuesday. Excuse me. So, thank you. Going to the Cavaliers. The one thing that I think has differentiated them from this year, from even when they were healthy last year, and even when I compare them maybe to the Thunder, if Darius Garland is going to be like this,
it's insane.
Where it's like, all right, if we do an apples to apples comparison with the Thunder, you're like, all right, Shea's better than Donovan Mitchell, but those are like, you're still your alpha primary, get your bucket guys. I get it. And then if we go to like, all right, Williams, different player than Darius Garland, but like, if those guys can both also secondary create shots. And then if we go to next level, like, all right, Evan Mobley's playing so well. That's maybe your Chet like comparison. I think Evan has been better maybe than Chet so far. Of course, Chet's going to miss now 2 months or more.
Oh, he's
8 to 10.
I would say it's at least 3 months.
Okay.
And like the majority, like with a broken pelvis or whatever he has hip, you can't like load weight on that for 6 to 8 weeks. So he's going to have to overcome the atrophy. He's going to have to, I mean, it's a long rehab / prehab, like while he's going through this. Yeah. Man, I've got a buddy who's had 3 hip surgeries and they put you on this machine.
Is it Bo Jackson?
No, not nearly the athlete. But it's not an easy recovery. It's a lot of time laying down because, you have to keep your weight off of it. So, I mean, it's at least 3 months and it could be a lot longer. I mean, this is just more, it's anecdotal and how everybody heals differently, but that's a rough one. Yeah. He already lost a year of his career, right?
Yeah. So that's going to be, hard for the Thunder, to keep up there, but that's kind of what I was just comparing even the ceilings when fully healthy of like Cavs versus Thunder. It was just looking at like the Cavaliers, man, Garland and Mobley are playing so well. And then there's Jared Allen, and there's Karis LeVert
in the league right now,
connecting the dots. Like everything is going so. Ty Jerome. Now we're talking about 10th players. Ty Jerome's been amazing this year. Anyways, we can wrap it up on the Ty. When we hit Ty Jerome, it's time to wrap it up.
Kenny Atkinson locked up Coach of the Year yet?
That's a great question. Are the Grizzlies going to have, are they going to win 55 games without Ja Morant or Desmond Bane?
I don't think so.
Anyways, oh man, Ja Morant, week to week injury. All these teams shorthanded going into the Emirates NBA Cup. I'm devastated for our sponsors. Anyways, Dave, thanks for hanging out and talking basketball. Listeners, if you want to support the program, you can do that at patreon.com/fastbreak breakfast. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fastbreak break, man. You understand?